Hey, hey, what's up, everyone? Node Investor here. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day, a wonderful week. What a week it's been. I got to tell you, man, oh man, these are exciting times, eh? Interesting days we live in. So I'm going to do a quick live stream with you guys here. So quick, I mean, we'll talk for about a half an hour or so. It's definitely not going to be an hour long one, but I just figure in light of the market action today, let's do a live stream. Let's look at some charts. I want to share a couple of lessons, just some thoughts about the recent action in the last 2 weeks. Some takeaways. We've got a lot of new investors, a lot of new people to crypto, and these cycles just repeat themselves, and you guys need to learn. You need to learn about this. You need to learn how to handle these type of markets, and I'll give you my thoughts, my opinions, and we'll go from there. But let's see here. First things first, let's see what we got going on in the chat room. I see some people are joining us now. Exciting stuff. Later on in the weekend, over the next couple days, I'll get back to my regular videos and such. I know I've done some live stream the last couple days. I kind of like them. You guys seem to enjoy them, so let's do it for now, right? We'll just keep it going, and we'll see how this goes tonight. So I'm going to give it another couple of minutes, let some more few folks join. This was definitely unscheduled. This was just me looking at the charts, thinking, let's do a quick live stream. And so I just sent the tweet out, and we'll see how it goes. But before we get on that, look at this volume. Man, oh man. Incredible volume. I was looking at the coin market cap today, and this had hit like 4 something earlier. Let's look at that. But I mean, you just look at the volume here. It's crazy. Highest volume ever. It was just, I mean, look at that 24-hour period volume, September 15, $4 billion. It doesn't sound like a lot, but it really is in this young market when you look at something like that. And, so if you go to coin market cap and you look at this historical data, this will show you some of that history. And if we look at just year to date, or actually let's do this. Let's look at the last year. And it just kind of puts it into perspective. So this is just Bitcoin. The total cryptocurrency market cap had huge volume too. But if you look at just Bitcoin, this was the last 24-hour volume. We traded $4.1 billion. Bitcoin market cap, $52 billion. And if we go back a year to last September, I mean, let's look at that. September 16, Bitcoin was $600 a year ago. Trading volume, look at that, 64 million. That's puny. That's nothing. The day after, 37 million. Look at that. Bitcoin market cap was just shy of $10 billion. We traded almost half that in volume in the last 24 days. So that's great. The market's developing. But when you compare it to like stocks or any other major asset class, I mean, those things trade in huge numbers, right? Total market. Now, a single issue stock, if it trades 4 billion in a day, that's a lot. That really is. But the total market, stock market trades, hundreds of billions. It's just crazy how much money moves in and out every day of a market like that. But yeah, definitely was a big volume day. So let's see here. We got, we're starting to get some viewers show up. So let's take a look at the chart. So this is what I want to talk about first. A quick lesson on market pullbacks and how they bottom. And if you missed it, go back to, I believe it was 2 videos ago, not my last video, but the one where I was talking about Bitcoin potentially coming down, the very popular one where everybody hated what I was saying because it was going to be true. But the one where we were around, 42, 4,300, we were kind of bouncing in this range. And I was talking about a potential descending triangle that was forming if Bitcoin didn't bounce around, 4450. Or if it broke below the 4,100 on a closing basis, we would see some more downside, right? And I mentioned what tends to happen. This is what happens in these markets, right? You have the big run up. Definitely was bullish, right? We went up, what was that, 70% or something from this breakout? I mean, yeah, 71%. And we just started to pull back. And what I said would happen is it comes in waves, right? And it pulls back and it pulls back and it pulls back. And then at the end, it's the most vicious pullback of the downtrend, right? So it comes down. People say hold, 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 hold. And then you just see the big smackdown. And that usually signifies the end. It's capitulation. And it either ends in a big smackdown like this or in a big hammer like the one we saw back here, right? And today was a little bit of a combination of that, but you just look at the volume, and the volume is typically the telltale that that's it, right? It's the big washout, it's the big sellers, it's the big short squeeze following that. So that's what we tend to see. And you see these pullbacks, and they happen frequently in cryptocurrency, right? I mean, we saw it back here. This was a little bit more drawn out, right? It was kind of a slower grind down, but even this one, after everybody thought that's it, we're done, you know, you saw this big sharp pullback, and it dropped from 2,000, 2,200 bucks or so all the way down to 1,800 over the weekend. And then we had the big pop. Now that volume back then looked pretty significant, but compared to what we saw this last week, that volume was nothing. And some of these other big pullbacks, I mean, let's take this volume out of the chart and look at how it scales. I mean, it just changes the chart significantly. These big bars look like something huge, and they are, but compared to what we saw this week, I mean, that just really puts things into perspective, how big the volume was this week. And so that's one sign, right? You'll see that. And then the other thing are some of the indicators that I use. So I like to use RSI as one of them. It works really well on the shorter time frames. On the daily ones, you know, you kind of look at it, but it looks really good as a tool on extremes, right? And so you see here at the bottom, right, the RSI and this point on the daily chart was hitting around 30. That's pretty oversold from a daily basis. Over here, it hit around 28, 29. You know, when you look at the hourlies, RSI can hit more extremes, you know. So during the hourlies, when Bitcoin was selling off, you know, it was down in the 20s. And then on the upside, when it hits the extremes, you'll see it bucking the 90, 80, 90 range. So I used the RSI there, and that was further confirmation, right? You can see that you saw the RSI was hitting this low, pretty sharp on the pullback, and just combination of everything. The sentiment is another indicator that I use. That's a little harder to gauge because you have to, it's a little more subjective, but I like to use that because the sentiment is, you know, up here, everyone's bullish, right? And we're, you know, we pull back a little bit to 4,400. Everyone says, oh, we're going to be at 5,000 and 6,000. And then down here, you know, we're down already down 4,000. Then we break 4 and we're in 37. And then when we start hitting that 3,600 mark, that's when I start seeing a lot of calls for 2,000 and 1,800 and all that. And it's like, okay, all the guys that are really bullish suddenly are now the other side, and they're all saying, this is it, we're going down to 1,800 and we're done, and the market's going to go, and I'll see you guys at the bottom. And it's like just extreme bearishness, and that tends to mark the signal. Now in this case, it was a little bit different too, because we had the news, right? A lot of this was news driven, plus, you know, you got some people adding fuel to the fire with comments and tweets and you know, Jamie Dimon and all that fun stuff. And so that just added to it. But the news was China, right? So first the rumor, and then the first exchange came out, and that was the first shoe to drop. And we all knew that the next ones were going to come out and say something, but it was just a matter of when. And I'm glad they came out sooner rather than waiting weeks before saying anything. And so that was the last shoe to drop, and they all said, and we're done. And now the news is out, right? And it's a typical sell the rumor, buy the news. And that's what we saw. And so once the news was out, and I mentioned that, I said, when the news comes out, you're going to see the reaction, and then we're going to go up. And that's exactly what happened. So we saw the reaction, and the news came down, and then it popped. Now, it hit some extremes. I mean, look at that, 2,900 on this chart. That was just amazing. And if we look at some of the other ones, I mean, did any of you guys get lucky and buy some Litecoin at 36 bucks? Look at that, $32. Wow. Who would have thought, huh? Litecoin was at what, 94 bucks just a couple weeks ago. $32. Incredible. But yeah, so that's the kind of moves you see at the very bottom, right? You see those big capitulations, the big sell, and then the big bounce. And just on the bounce, I mean, you're up 20, 30% on that. But The only way you pick those up is if you have the orders pre-planned and it's kind of the crazy low price order. I did one for Neo, and I didn't set mine low enough because I didn't know if we'd get that low, but I did pick some up at least. But I set my Neo order at 16 bucks, and I thought, we'll get to 16 maybe. And oh yeah, we got to 16 and some. So where's that in? Let me go back to the 4-hour chart on this one. So yeah, so Neo dropped all the way down to 13 and change. But I got filled a little bit early down here. But hey, who's complaining, right? Neo's back up 21. I actually bought some Neo today on this little flag pull and a little breakout of there. So adding some. I know it's very early. It's a very aggressive entry, but we're at the lows here, and I've been liking the lows, and so I picked some up here. Now, Neo versus Bitcoin, if we go to the Bittrex chart here, look at this. It never broke that low versus Bitcoin that I was talking about, where I said I thought that was the low. Now, on the dollar basis, absolutely, right? It trashed it, and that's because, well, Bitcoin went down to 2,900 bucks. So, but I'm liking this still, this little setup, and now it's looking like it wants to start moving up the right side here. So that picks them up. We'll see where that goes. It's not a real breakout per se. And if we zoom in again here and look at the chart, I mean, there's still a case to be made for this downtrend that has not been broken yet. So it's definitely an early entry. And it's a little bit of an aggressive entry, but I'm just kind of going off of these multiple lows that did hold versus Bitcoin, and I think it's going to start outperforming. And so far it has, not by a large margin, but it's starting to outperform by a little bit here. So picking some up there. But let's go back to the charts and let's look at the big three. Where do I think we're going from here? So let's start with Bitcoin. We'll go here, BTC. All right, so let's start with Bitcoin. This is the 4-hour chart. Let's look at the daily first here. So this kind of gives us a perspective, right? So we held this major base that we had just a few weeks ago, a few months ago. We pretty much retraced that entire breakout, and we hit the bottom here, and now we're bouncing. Now, on the bounce, I'm thinking we're going to hit, between 4,000 and maybe 4,400 here on this bounce. The first level of resistance was around 3,700 or so. If we zoom in on the hourly, so you can see, right, we're bouncing into this first level of resistance right now, 3,800, and that's where we seem to be stalling. We could pull back here a little bit and do some back and filling here and then start to move up. The next level is going to be this little zone here, so just above 4,000 up into this range here, right, 43.50 or so. So that's going to be the next level that we're going to be watching to clear if we get above this little consolidation. I think we will. I think we might pull back a little bit and then start moving up. But that's going to be the next one, because that was a pretty solid base that was holding up, and it kind of correlates with this support. So this whole area right here was just a real solid zone that that just got taken out when everything started to fall apart. So that's going to be the next area to clear. And if we do go that high up, even from this point, right, that's going to be another 10 to 15% or so on Bitcoin. What that would also do, if we see that, is start reversing some of these moving averages, which we really need to do. On the daily basis, those moving averages are still very bearish. The 10 EMA is just about to cross that 50-day moving average. If you were, if you didn't know the news and you were just looking at the chart, obviously volume gives it away, but just looking at the chart, you would say this is just a bounce into that 10 EMA and we're going to pull back. And we certainly could bounce into that, pull back, but I think this low is going to hold. On a longer term basis, a lot of people are calling for the beginning of a big bear in Bitcoin, right? And if we zoom out, take the log off, I can see why they say that. I mean, there's certainly a case to be made for this huge run we've had, right? You got the traditional J curve that just goes parabolic, and now we're pulling back, and and I can see the case for that. And I've lived through a couple of those in various markets. The precious metals markets did it for a while. Stock markets did it a little bit in 2007, and we've just seen it in specific sectors. And so it happens, right? And the thing to note about that, you never know when it's that until it's hindsight. So I'm not saying we're going to come down, because if that happens, if we see that turn into a long bear, what'll end up happening is this is going to retrace all the way down to 2000 or so, start bottoming out. And it's not so much the depth of it that gets people because it'll just bounce back, but it's the time. It always takes longer than people want it to take, right? Everybody calls the bottom and it just draws out. And then we have these huge rallies that go up 80% and they say we're done, and it starts to drop more and it just kind of drags out, and then it just goes flat for a long time before it starts curving back up. It just makes for a very difficult long-term holding. It's good for trading, but when we see that kind of a market scenario, that's going to be that's I've seen that, right? I saw it in the silver market here in the last several years. People, when it hit that top of 40, 50 bucks, and everyone said, oh, we pulled back all the way to 30, and we started bouncing. They say, here we go again. Everyone's expecting $100, $200 silver, and it was just a slow grind all the way down to 15 bucks until just recently. So not saying that's going to happen, but if it does, that's how it's going to play out. It's just going to take its time, work its way all the way down. And you know what? Nobody knows. And so for now, we're just going to take it in the near term, short to intermediate. I think we're bouncing. I think we're going to go high. Will we clear the 5,000 mark? I'm not going to say we are, because there's just no way to tell. And honestly, I think we need some more backfilling before we go anywhere near that again, in my opinion. So I think we're going to hold, bounce, pull back a little bit. I think this low is going to hold. So those are my thoughts on Bitcoin from a retracement perspective. You look at Fibonacci and all that, everything hit. From a pullback perspective, let's see here. We came back 39%, right? So we've seen that similarly. This was 32%. Some of these other smaller pullbacks were 31, 32%. So in the ballpark. The volume, though, incredible volume. We've not seen volume like this for a long time. So Jamie Dimon, I know you bought a ton of Bitcoin here. I know you and your friends were loading up, or covering your shorts, really, is what you were doing. So, all right, let's take a look at the next couple here. Let's look at Ethereum. So Ethereum was weaker of the bunch. And let's see how far this bounce has been so far. We've seen a bounce in the neighborhood of, I think it was 26% or so. We're up to about 32% now. So not bad. Pretty good on Ethereum, but, it's still looking a little weaker in my opinion. It just, this big double top formation is still there. Let me put the log chart on just so we can kind of normalize it a little bit, but it's still there, right? That's still in play. Still weak. The volume, again, very bullish volume. I mean, when you see that big reversal candle, that's good. But this one's looking weaker right now. I want to see this one start taking out these moving averages to the upside. Let's see what's next. Litecoin. One thing about Litecoin here, I'm very bullish on Litecoin. It pulled back the hardest. And the one thing that concerns me here is it's going to really face some headwinds. So if you go to CoinMarketCap here and we go to Litecoin, if you've ever used this markets tab, this is helpful for a number of reasons. It'll tell you which exchanges you can trade these on. But it's pretty cool because it tells you, you can look at the currency, right? So you can see Korea, you can see China, USD, you can see how it trades. But more importantly, you can see who is the major player. And Litecoin is very concentrated, right? So you see here 45% is trading, Korea, China. If you had these next ones up here, right? So between Korea and China, I mean, that's significant a percentage of the daily volume that trades on Litecoin. And so if you take out these two Chinese exchanges, I mean, that's going to be 33% of, so a third of Litecoin trading, right? And you start adding some of these other ones and it starts to add up. Bitcoin and Ethereum don't have that scenario, right? So if you go to Bitcoin and you see where the markets are, Bitcoin's everywhere, right? I mean, this is a huge concentration on Bitfinex, but it only hits 16% and everybody else is pretty much single digits. And then you see Ethereum, very similar on multiple markets, very spread out, right? You see BitHub and Bitfinex there is double-digit leaders, and everyone else is pretty much taking a single-digit piece of the pie. So that's a little bit of a headwind for Litecoin, in my opinion, because a third of the market there was basically taken out for now, right? Will they come back? I think so. But will it be at that level of volume? Who knows, right? And so just keep an eye on that. I think it's in a snapback because it had one of the biggest drops. I mean, from $90 down to 32. I mean, holy smokes. I wish I would have set my stupid low buy order on Litecoin. I didn't think it dropped that far. But I mean, we're already up 65% on that one. So we'll see where we go. I mean, even a bounce to the 10 EMA from this point is still going to get you over 10%, right? So, and I think we'll probably go higher than that. So those are my thoughts on Litecoin. I mean, we just totally undercut this huge base that it was putting in this big breakout. So I think it's got some work to do to rebuild some of this chart from a technical perspective. All right, let me look through the comments. What else do you guys want to look at here? Oh, there's a lot of smaller cap names that I'm looking at that are looking pretty decent here, but with those they're just hard right now. You know, some of those just get pumped, and then when they get sold hard. Let's look at some of those names that I'm looking at. One that's not so much smaller cap anymore, but I've been talking about for a little bit is ARK. Let's see how ARK is doing. Still looks nice. Come on, guys. You can't complain about that. Look at that. I mean, versus Bitcoin, held up nicely. ARK was one of the few ports in the storm during this pullback, was just, you know, from a BTC perspective, just holding up. Just very nice. So still looking good, still outperforming Bitcoin. And I mean, the sell volume wasn't even that much. So compared to this buy volume down here. So looking pretty good on ARK. If we zoom in a little bit, is it buyable here? You know, it's looking like it's consolidating. It was definitely crazy over the last couple of days, but the volume patterns are just very bullish, right? The big green bars are all the buys. I mean, look at this big hammer candle, the big reversal candle, just very bullish, you know, pulling in a little bit, but so far the sell volume has been small. Now RSI is weakening a little bit here, but might just be consolidating some of that move. So far, looking good. We go to the 4-hour chart on ARK, you know, just kind of pulling in a little bit. Starting to pull a little bit of a descending resistance here a little bit. So keep an eye on that. So if you're holding it, you know, I'd probably hold on to it for a little bit right now. It's not bad. One of the few ports in the storm here. Another one that was moving up off the lows here. Let's look at this one. It was Decred. So not bad. I'm really liking these little volume pops here that we're seeing to the upside. That's a lot of accumulation coming in. This one's pretty low market cap still. I think it's like sub 200 million. Let's see where it's at here. Decred. Where are you at, Decred? Here it is. Number 35, 174.8. So 175 million market cap. Still has a ways to go. So not bad. I know Charlie Lee's been bullish on this one for quite some time now. And we'll see if this one starts to get some legs. But I'm liking the way it's looking here at the lows. Another one I'm looking at here. Let's see. How did you know, one that was setting up again, small cap names, guys. So I get it. Very volatile, a little more speculative. Probably wouldn't commit my whole portfolio to it, but made safe, right? So if you look at made safe setting up here, starting to put in a little bit of a base, looking like it might want to break out here. So I'd be watching these levels right here. If it starts to move up off the base here, could have another run up. If we zoom out, you know, the next level of resistance is going to be right around here in this little range. And if we can even just get to that point, so you're looking at from this point up, you know, that's 16% up to maybe 30%. So it wouldn't be a bad move. This is on the longer term chart, definitely on the lower end. And so it just kind of depends on, you know, it's a smaller cap name too. So it could have a bigger run if it really starts to get some volume behind it. If we go to market cap here, where is it at? I think it's way down on the list here. Maybe not. Maybe not as far as I think it is. Where's it made safe? Am I staring right at it, guys? Let's do this the easy way. Number 23, 245 million market cap. So not as low as I thought, but looking like you might want to move off the lows here. So one I'm watching here. Let's see here. Cloak. I'm seeing you guys talk about Cloak. Definitely small market cap. I think what's Cloak is what, sub 100. Let's see here. Cloak, 49. 49. Almost breaks my rule. I typically don't look at the sub 50 million names, but Cloak. Yeah, I know there's a lot of news coming out about Cloak. They're going open source. It's a privacy coin. I think the privacy coins are getting a bid right now. They're looking hot, so can't complain about Cloak. It's looking good. There was a little bit of a reversal candle here today. Zoom in on the 4-hour charts. Now you're seeing some selling coming in here, but it could just be pulling in. If it could be start setting up a little series of higher lows, maybe one to look at on the pullback here. But yeah, seeing some action coming in on Cloak. 10x. Let's look at 10x. See here on the 4-hour charts. Is 10x finally bottomed? Is it done? And this guy's been pulling back for some time now. Come on, 10x. Let's do something exciting. Where's that little poke it with the stick meme, guys? Come on, do something already. It's trying. I'm not sure it's ready yet. It's trying. Versus Bitcoin, it's not outperforming, right? I mean, everything's going up when you look at the fiat price, everything's going up because, well, heck, Bitcoin. But I'm not sure if this one's ready yet. What else here? Another one. You guys want to talk all these really small market cap names because they grow by 100% in a day, and then they drop by 100% in a day. Let's see what this one's doing here. So off the lows, 40, 50, 48%, and looking like it wants to go higher. If we look at the hourly charts on this one, I was actually looking at Verge today, but I didn't do anything with it. But this little flag pattern here, just breaking out now, looking like it wants to pop. Probably still viable, in my opinion, in this range here. It's just looking like it's getting moving up 5-6%. That's nothing for a little name like this. It could pull back to this little 10 EMA on the hourly. Those are usually really good entry points if you're trying to be a little more surgical about it. When you pull back to these 10 EMAs on the hourlies. But yeah, no complaints on this one, guys. Looking all right. Looking all right. Who else do we got here? Let's see. I see the Real Crypto's with us tonight. What's up, man? If you guys haven't checked out his channel, check out Real Crypto. He's got some good stuff, and we come from the same school of thought in a lot of ways. So his technical analysis is good. I'm not going to complain. All right, let's see here. What else do we got? Neo. You guys want to talk Neo again? I talked Neo, but I know we got some folks joining us late. So let's talk Neo. All right, full disclosure. I bought some Neo off the lows here. I'm still liking Neo. I still think this was the low for Neo versus Bitcoin. I've been saying that for some time. I'm holding by my story. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. But hasn't broken the downtrend yet, not officially. No, it's got a long ways to go to break that, just because, I mean, not now, but just because we've been in such a downtrend, right? But we're getting close. We're getting close. I like Neo. If we zoom in on the dailies, right, I mean, this is the trend I was talking about, right? Hasn't officially broken. Finally starting to poke itself above that 10 EMA on the daily. And that's usually like my first signal, right? If we can get above that and hold, because that tends to be an area of resistance. You can see when it broke down here. Look at where it bounced. 10 EMA, 10 EMA, 10 EMA, close. Pulled all the way back, had the big rally right above the 10 EMA, and then sold off again. And so here we go. We're starting to bounce, and it needs to hold. And it really needs to just break this downtrend, right? So if we can really start to close above that, pull back a little bit and start to go, it's going to be a good sign. So I'm holding some. I'm holding some Neo. I like it. Omise Go. Yeah, Neo. So somebody said it's going to have a lot of ceiling to break, and that's true. It's going to have a lot of hurdles to get above, right? You're going to have this little zone of resistance, and then this little zone of resistance where it broke down. But, you know, the thing I like about Neo from a percentage basis is look at these levels, right? If we get to that first zone, that's 25%. If we get to that next zone, that's 67%. That's huge, you know, and just getting to the old highs on a closing basis, 110% from this point. So versus Bitcoin, it could seriously outperform if it starts getting going again. So that's why I'm holding it. Omise Go. Can we talk Saya? Yeah, we'll talk Saya. Saya coin. Omise Go. Man, versus Bitcoin, still one of the best charts, guys. You got to admit. Still looking really good. Now, on the dollar, again, another one I probably wish I would have set a stupid low entry price on, because look at what Omise Go did versus the dollar. Where's that chart at here? Here we go. Look at this. $6.60. All right. Did anybody pick up Omise Go sub $7? I want to know. I'm jealous if you did. What a move down. Here's the thing I don't like about Omisego. So I talked about this pattern that was forming here, and I know some of you guys say it was a head and shoulders. I wasn't seeing that. I was seeing more of a double top on the 4-hour charts. This little weird square double top pattern. I don't like those. And I was saying, hey, if it closes below 11, it's not going to be good. I didn't think we'd go to $6, but holy cow. So we closed below 11. We pulled back. Look at where we bounced. We bounced right into that prior support, became resistance, smack down. We're bouncing right into that. So I'm going to be very cautious until it can retake that level. We're almost there now. Now, if you bought down here, fabulous, right? I probably would have too if I was awake watching Omise go at $6. But now that we're here, would I be a buyer of Omise go here? I mean, how far are we from that point? I mean, we're only 6% away. I'd probably just let it do its thing for a bit or pull back a little bit and then take a better entry point, in my opinion. If you're holding it, I'd still hold it and see what it does. It starts to approach. If it starts to pull back hard, you know, on this resistance level here and undertakes that 10 EMA on the 4-hour, which at that point would be up here, I wouldn't let it get below $10 again. I'd probably move out of the way, in my opinion. It's had a fabulous run. On the daily chart, still looks good. Okay, so just kind of note that. Still looks really good on the daily charts. But it's had a fabulous run, and it's been a little bit of port in the storm for the last couple weeks, and maybe needs some time to consolidate here a little bit. So let's take a look at Sia Coin. Stop with Neo. Why? Come on. Sia Coin. All right, let's see here. Sia Coin. You know, guys, I really like the idea of Sia Coin. I like the project. You know, similar to storage, that whole distributed cloud storage, fabulous. Just not happening, right? And it just has some headwinds. I don't know what it is. I have some of my suspicions, right? I think there's going to be more competition. If you look at Neo, right? So one of the projects that Neo is doing is going to be this, right? So if Neo takes off, that's going to probably just crush coins like Sia Coin and storage. So nothing to do with this one yet, in my opinion. It looked like it was trying, right? I was watching these big volume patterns coming in at these lows. What I would do with this one, if you're really interested in Sia Coin, is just let it close above this level here, right? You don't want to try to get the best price. I get it. That'd be a nice move from this point, right? You're at 50%. You're guessing at that point. So could it bounce? Yeah, probably could, and it probably will. Is it going to go back up to these old highs? Who knows? Honestly, in my opinion, I really doubt it. This one looks like it's done. It's been done for a little bit. So struggling here on the lows. All right, let's see here. Yeah, Filecoin, there's another one that's coming, right? So just a lot of competition. Let's see, Lisk. So definitely keep an eye on Lisk. So I had this nice pattern it was setting up, a little bit of an ascending triangle looking like it wanted to break out. And it was really trying until the market just overcame it, right? It was just too bearish of a market. Lisk broke down, but now it's kind of rebuilding. Held this 30 EMA. I mean, look at that. It stopped almost to the penny there. Very nice. And sell volume wasn't really drastic. I mean, it was higher sell volume back here. So not complaining on Lisk. Actually looking pretty good. If it can start to rebuild and take out these highs right here recently, it looked like it might be one to start breaking out again. So that's still another 10%. The thing with Lisk that you have to keep in mind, though, is it's still digesting this massive move that it had here a couple weeks back. You know, during mid-August, it just started really running off the lows. And I mean, look at how high it went up. It went up, peaked at 270% basically before pulling back. So it's still digesting that. That's a massive move. But one to keep an eye on. I'm thinking what'll happen is it'll probably just chop and flop here, and these moving averages will start to tighten up, and then we'll probably launch from that point. But if you're watching it, look for a breakout. If it starts to break out, this 170,000 Satoshi level really is kind of going to be your signal there. As an early aggressive buy here, don't let it get below this 30 EMA. That's about 9 to 10%. By the time it gets there, it'll probably be higher, so 7%. And that's not bad. That's definitely in the realm of stop loss percentage. I try to stay in the single digits there, and probably 5 to 7% is pretty normal. So Not bad on Lisk. So let's see. What else are you guys wanting to talk about here? Quantum, ADX. I don't see anything going on with ADX yet. ADX. Um, Civic. Doge. Guys, come on. I'm not talking Doge. You guys twisted my arm last time and made me talk about Doge. Oh, Omise Go. Okay, we covered that. You know what? I'm going to take a quick side note here just to let you guys know what's going on with nodeinvestor.com. So check this out, guys. I'm going to play a little bit of a, I don't want to say it a game. It sounds too manipulative, but I'm going to do a little bit of a fun pricing scheme here today. So twice a day, I'm going to look at the price of Bitcoin, and the first two digits will be the price of my course. So in light of the whole market crash and this pain everyone's feeling, I figured, hey, let's have some fun with this. I'm going to adjust the price of my course. It's normally $40. So that's going to be the max. If Bitcoin goes to $4,400, the course is not going to be $44. It'll be 40. And if Bitcoin goes to $2,500, I'm going to drop the floor to $30. That's as low as I'm willing to go on this one. And it's not going to be indefinite. So I'll let the game go for, I'm just going to call it the next week or so. So if you haven't bought the course and you're interested in one of the courses today, they're $37. Now, what will it be tomorrow? Let's see. Well, if Bitcoin holds, it's going to be $38 tomorrow. If Bitcoin tanks, well, not tanks, but pulls back, it'll probably be $36. So we'll see. A little bit of fun game. Pick up the course while you can. And then on the trading group, some of you guys have been asking me about that. So here's the way I'm going to do that. I'm going to definitely cap the number of folks that are going to join that. It's going to be a very small number, definitely sub 100. And I'm going to send out an email here in the next, I don't know, day or two. And that's going to go to the course buyers first, kind of give them first option on that. They'll get a couple days to decide if they want to commit to that. And then after that, I'll open it up to everybody and send some more communication on that. So it's going to basically be a private Slack channel. You guys are going to get a look behind the curtain, if you will. And I'll share my trades with you. I'll share my setups with you when I'm watching. And it's going to be on a rolling cycle. So you'll basically pay to join the group for a period of time, and then the group will close and we'll start a new group and we'll go from there. So that's how it's going to go. So the course will probably be $38 tomorrow. All right, let's go. Stratus. Oh, you know what? Ripple. Didn't talk about this one last time and I wanted to and I forgot. So Ripple versus the dollar. So I still think that was the long Ripple, this 14, 15 cent area. We had this pretty nice rally. Then it just kind of was looking weak. It actually was looking at a little bit of a descent triangle pattern, pulled back. Now we're bouncing. So that's going to be the first level to watch, right? This little bit of a support area that broke, and that's going to be right around 19, 20 cent Ripple. And if you can start to break this little down pattern it was starting to do, that's what I'd be looking for on Ripple. But it looks good, right? Good reversal candle here. Looks like it wants to go higher. And we'll see how high it can go. Versus Bitcoin, it's pretty much sitting. I mean, it's been following Bitcoin for the last couple of weeks. I mean, look at how tight that is. So Bitcoin goes up, Ripple goes up. Bitcoin goes down, Ripple goes down. And that's kind of interesting to see that it's doing that. And it's just an interesting pattern with Ripple. Real tight. And I can see why they might want it to stay tight like that. Just it being the whole Swift replacements and all that. But yeah, we'll see. Definitely in a nice little tight range here. So one to keep an eye on. If it starts to break out again and move off these lows, could start outperforming Bitcoin again. So not bad. Let's see. Stratus. BTC breaking out again. We'll take a look at the Bitcoin charts before I wrap it up. What time is it here? All right. I'll go for another. Man, it's already been 30 minutes. I'll go for a little bit longer, guys, and then we'll close it out here. And like I said, I'll post some videos, my normal videos, this weekend, and just do some more analysis on the markets. Stratus, here's the positive on Stratus. So Stratus has continued to hold this kind of zone, this multiple zone area that it's here. It's a wide zone, but it's still not looking good, right? I mean, it's still trailing down. The 10 EMA is still resistance. I keep thinking it wants to bottom, but there's really nothing to do with it yet, in my opinion. So if you're holding it, man, are you holding it? I don't know if I mean, if you're holding it from this whole pullback, I don't know what to tell you. At this point, you might as well just keep holding it. But yeah, I don't know. Definitely not viable. Let's see here. What else is going on? BTC pumping. BTC. Let's see what's going on. Everyone's talking BTC. Is it really pumping? Can't be going that high. We just looked at it. Who bought Bitcoin? Jamie, was that you again? Are you buying more Bitcoin? Quit buying some Bitcoin, Jamie. Let's see here. 38.42. That's not bad. Like I said, guys, I think we're going to go up to about this 4,000 level and then maybe 4,400. We'll see. Those are kind of my two areas right now. Oh, someone else bought Bitcoin. Connor said I did. Got it. All right, let's see here. Metal. Metal at small cap name too, right? Isn't metal like, let's see. Metal, rank 31, 191 million. Not bad. A little bit more than I thought it was. Okay. Let's see here. Let's take a look at the chart. So metal, yeah, not bad. Looking good. Like, here's the thing with metal though. And I know I mentioned this before, but you just have to consider this when you're buying these type of things. Like, if you're disciplined, you want to set stops, you set targets, right? You look at support and resistance levels. And things like metal make it really hard. I mean, just look at the average volatility. We'll take one of these smaller candles, right? We'll take this one, right? I mean, look at this. Average day is 10%. And if you look at one of these bigger candles, I mean, you're talking on a daily basis, it's going to swing 20%. That's fabulous if you're trading these, but you know, if you're trying to hold it, if you zoom out, the chart looks, hey, this looks pretty good, not too bad. But if you buy it up here, you got to be willing to give it some room or you're going to get stopped out. And that's a lot of room. I mean, you're willing to give it 15%. Not everybody is, right? So it just kind of depends on your tolerance level. I personally don't like to, unless you buy it down at these dips, right? And then you give it some room, or it's just a smaller position of your portfolio and you're willing to give it plus or minus 15% on a swing or 20%, right? So you just have to factor that in when you're trading these smaller names like metal. They're just a little more volatile. All right, let me see. What else am I looking at? Let's look at IOTA. How's IOTA doing? Dollar IOTA first. Big candle reversal, good volume, huge candle reversal down here, but that was a lot of selling still. On a daily basis, pretty much looking like everything else. Let's zoom in a little bit here. 4-hour charts. That's nice. Nice reversal candle. They have big green candle. Did anybody buy IOTA at 36 cents? What a move. So it went up 28% in that 4-hour period. Not bad. Looking like it wants to break out his little flagpole pattern and move higher. So wouldn't complain. It's going to face some hurdles though, for sure, right? This next level above 56 and then 61 is going to be your areas to watch. But could make for a good little short-term trade, right? Just to this next level is 10%, and then up to here is 25%. So not too bad from a risk-reward basis. If you buy it here and you know you're not going to let it get too far down, I'd give maybe 5 to 10% on the downside. Well, more like 7 to 10% on the downside. And if it starts to reverse, just step aside, let it do its thing. That's me. Neo just popped. Somebody said Neo just popped. Let's see. Neo. Yep. Not bad. You know what? You know why Neo popped, everybody? Because I was just talking about it on the live stream, and then like Jamie Dimon was like, "What? Neo?" And he went out and just bought a ton of it. Okay, enough with the Jamie Dimon thing. Who can we pick on next? Golem. I don't know about Golem. You know, after that big failed breakout, I don't know. It's going to need to convince me. Nothing to do with Golem, in my opinion. EOS. I'm going to wrap this one up, guys. EOS. You know, here's the thing with EOS. They're still distributing coins like crazy, and that's just going to be a big headwind for a while, at least another 6 months. So I'm going to probably not do anything with EOS, but you're just seeing some massive volume coming in here recently. Maybe it's a good sign. Maybe it's finally bottoming out here. Let's see. Look at that. Holy cow. Everyone's selling EOS. Oh man. Jeez. Yeah. Nothing to do with EOS. I mean, just think about it this way, guys. It's tempting, right? And you see the bottom price and you're thinking, this is a good deal. Like, look at how cheap it is. But that's the wrong mentality to have when you're buying stuff like this, because don't think of it as a consumer mentality, right? You don't want to buy the best, lowest price possible. You want to buy at the best time possible, right? Because, yeah, it's low, but what if it just sits flat for a while? Why buy EOS when you can buy ARC? The complete opposite chart, right? The trend is your friend. It's cliche, but it's true, right? I mean, just like, look at it, it's going up. Wait for a pullback and buy because the strength is there. And until that reverses, your money's better off being in something like ARC versus something like NEO. And so when you see those charts that are going from 10 o'clock to 4 o'clock, it just doesn't interest me. You got to really wait for a pop or at least a little bit of a basic pattern in the reversal, right? So those are my thoughts. I'm going to go through a couple more here real quick, cycle them real quick. Monero. How are we doing? Not bad. These privacy coins are going to be of interest here. Zcash. Let's see. I think Zcash is probably the weaker of the privacy coins right now. Yeah, I've heard this little failed breakout double top thing. I'm just a little leery on this one. Dash. Dash is looking good. It's pretty much holding par with Bitcoin right now. So the chart of Dash is going to look a little bit like Bitcoin, and it does. Not bad. Not bad at all. Who else? Pivx. Pivx is looking good. And it's a smaller cap name too, so it might have higher percentage run than, say, a Zcash. Yeah, Pivx is not bad. Did we look at Verge already? I think we did. We looked at Cloak. Yeah. And there's a few others. I know. Ptoy. No. Trig. No. Potcoin. Definitely no. Sorry, no offense. I'm not. Just look at all those smaller cap coins right now. Qdom. Yeah, just suffering with the whole China news. I'd probably hold on Qdom right now. I'm just not going to do anything with this chart personally. Nexus. Nexus, is it moving again? Nav. Yeah, there's another one. Nav. That's another privacy one I want to look at. Where's Nexus? They were moving up the list here for a while. So we looked at Decred. We looked at Pivx. Nexus. Not bad. Economy. Genosis. Civic. I think Civic's still down. Not bad. Nexus is not bad. I like that little descending pattern it pulled out here, breaking out right back to the breakout point. So, yeah, can't complain about Nexus. Looks good. What else? What did I say I was going to look at? Oh, Civic. See, it's getting late, guys. I think I'm going to wrap it up. Yeah, it's just not ready yet. Just like Pay, right? I like it. Longer term, it's just not ready yet. Omise Go, we looked at Omise Go. Edgeless, yeah, that was another one I was looking at. Small cap name, of course, definitely speculative, but technically speaking, was actually looking really strong. There's Edgeless. Look at that. Volatile, very, but looking like it wants to have another move up here. So if you like it, Edgeless, look at this little pattern setting up, tighten up. Might want to pop out here soon. Again, smaller cap, so they can move these quick if they do. Oh, let's see here. Did I say Ethereum will go up? You know what? Ethereum's going to track the markets right now. They've got a lot of stuff happening with the project that could be a big factor, right? They're just changing a few things here in the coming months. So of the big three, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, I was going to say Ethereum was probably looking the weakest. It's probably looking a little better now, but Litecoin has those headwinds I was talking about. A third of the market volume is China. So that could be a factor there. But all in all, I think Ethereum's going to track to what Bitcoin's lead's going to be doing. And look at Ethereum versus Bitcoin, right? So Look at the chart. I mean, it's up and down, but for the most part, it's kind of in this zone, right? This sideways zone. And so it's just kind of tracking the Bitcoin. I mean, plus or minus some decent percent, but it's not like it's not trending versus Bitcoin, right? It's not either going down or going straight up. So it's going to just do what Bitcoin's doing, basically. Okay, folks, that's going to do it for tonight. Appreciate all you guys joining me on this unannounced late night crypto coin review. And we'll keep an eye on these markets. I'll look at the Bitcoin prices. I'll adjust the course price accordingly a couple times a day for the next week or so, and then it'll go back to $40. So thanks, everyone. Take care.